I mean, being completely honest, you'll probably get to $1 million faster if you.
So hello everyone, today we are in the coolest and one of the biggest incubators of Silicon Valley, in the heart of Silicon Valley in Sunnyvale, and today we will see how foreign companies come and enter the market of US. They grow with other startups of US and evolve in this incubator environment. So first of all, Puneet, can you please introduce yourself, talk about this building and what do you do?
Hey everyone, I'm Puneet. I'm the founder and CEO of CareerFlow.ai. We're a tech startup. We're basically an AI co-pilot for job seekers. And we are currently in the Plug and Play Tech Center. This is actually a co-working space that I work out of. It also is many other things, such as Saranu was saying, an incubator. It's also a venture capital firm, etc. And I think it's a really cool place because I work out of here and I enjoy every moment of it.
Amazing. So what is this called?
It's called Plug and Play.
Plug and Play. Amazing. And coolest part, he is boosting the economy of US and India. काफी startups का trend होता है that they only hire from India or outside America and take the funding from US, and which has gotten a little bit negative PR. But he is doing both, hiring in India as well as US, boosting the economy.
Yeah, of course. Here's Mahesh, who's one of our interns. Recently joined us and he's working with us in the US as well.
Oh, nice.
Hi, I'm Mahesh. So today was my first day as an intern at CareerFlow. So I'm currently doing my master's in computer science, and to get experience in the startup space, I decided to do this internship, and it's been really exciting.
Oh, so where are you doing your master's currently?
I'm doing a master's in Stevens Institute of Technology.
Very nice. So how do you figure out which startups are recently moving to Bay Area and quickly apply? How did you figure out about this job?
So basically, I already knew Puneet before, and I knew that he had already is doing the company, and he really needed some people to do some programming, testing.
They have a lot of games here in the Bay Area because यहाँ पे ज़्यादा बारिश नहीं होती. All the outdoor games, indoor games have become outdoor games. And football. So there are so many startups here. ज़्यादा यहाँ पे Japanese आते हैं ना?
These are all the corporate partners. जिनका नाम यहाँ चिपका हुआ है. ये इनकी corporate partners है, जैसे ये medtech है, right? These are the corporate companies who invest in or who have like partnered with Plug and Play to get investment for startups in these areas. So that's kind of how it is. And then they have partnerships with different cities, so Arizona, Texas, whatever.
Nice. And it's inspired from the research environment of universities like Stanford and all the top schools. So just like in research-based universities, one research professor working on one project can collaborate with other research professor working on different project. That is the kind of environment they wanted to create here, and that is what you see right here. So for example, that company right there is Aflac, and they can collaborate very easily with startups like right here with Shims, and also venture capitalists are also right here. Okay. Wow.
Massage chair में बैठ के video.
There's massage chairs too. Amazing. So all the perks that are in big tech are here too. So Puneet, can you please share your entrepreneurship journey? You came from India, you did a master's here, you worked at Apple, and how you figured out that you want to become an entrepreneur now?
So actually, when I was doing my undergrad in India, at that time I had a company with few of my college mates, and it was kind of a small app development company. We used to build games and apps for BlackBerry platform. So most people probably don't even know what a BlackBerry is, but we used to build games. It's something like an iPhone, but 10-15 years ago.
Yeah, I think people remember, they don't forget that easily. QWERTY phone, it was so powerful.
Yeah. So we used to anyways build stuff for that. So that was my first experience as an entrepreneur. But I thought that, I should get into big tech, or just like everyone else, get into big companies and learn kind of what happens in these companies. So I worked at kind of a hedge fund based, it's a New York based hedge fund. I worked in India for a year.
What was it called?
It was called D. Shaw. So I worked in one of their sister companies called RCCM. So I worked there, got some experience, did a master's. I thought I should also learn more, live the American dream. Then I worked at another startup. Well, I worked at Amazon as an intern. Then I got an opportunity at another startup. That was really cool. It was like a Series B startup that I joined. And that startup really grew, and I grew along with it, due to which I got poached by Apple to join them due to the work that I'd done, prior in that startup. So along this whole journey, kind of, I was always building towards really, what do I do next? Like, it's not like, do I want to do my own thing? It's like, when do I want to do it and what do I want to do? So I think the COVID-19 pandemic really gave me some free space and free time to really think about, what is it I want to do in terms of a startup. And at that time, alongside my co-founder, Nikita Gupta, we both had started doing a lot of online mentorship. So we just started a community of mentors and volunteers, and we were just helping people with, improving their resumes, improving their LinkedIn, helping them practice for interviews, because it was a really challenging time in the market. So one thing led to another, and we realized that there's actually a huge gap in this space, right, when it comes to career development. And in 2020, 2021, we kept, kind of doing mentorship, and we realized that everyone has the same challenge, but at a different point in time.
Correct.
And over the years, the solution to this challenge was not changing, right? People would ask, "Arey, bhaiya, resume bata do, kaise karna hai?" Things like that. And I would give them the same advice. Other mentors around me would be doing the same, and it felt very much repetitive. So that's kind of how CareerFlow came to be. Is we realized very quickly that there is a problematic challenge when it comes to career development or job search process. So the process was broken.
So this is the office space of CareerFlow. So can you share, Puneet, that when you started, right?
Yeah.
So because of AI, you can start with a smaller team. So in your 15 team of employees, how many are engineers? And do you think in this AI era, you need far less than what you had expected before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now I have 5 engineers and 1 intern, so total 6, and we are hiring a few more. But in short, if I would show you our product and the depth of our product, a note we always hear from people is like, wow, I can't believe you guys have built this much in the short amount of time that your company has existed. And largely speaking, that's a combination of the technical strengths of our team. We've hired some great people. And 2 is their ability to scale themselves with AI, right? For example, maybe there's a new thing that someone hasn't worked on, but with AI, they're able to actually quickly figure out how to do that or quickly augment their own coding abilities. So AI has definitely helped in many other ways. I can give you a really specific example. Is I used to work in different companies before, and whenever we had a mobile app or a mobile game, you want to translate that into different languages, right? We used to actually hire companies, and they would charge you per word. So per word, they would charge you some cents to translate that per language. So if you want to support 10 languages, per word, it's like, if it's just say example 10 cents, 10 languages, it will cost you $1 per word. Now you multiply that by how many words you have in your app or game or whatever, or website. When we had to do something similar for CareerFlow, I was like, okay, well, I guess we need to support different languages because we had a customer requirement. And I was like, okay, what do we do? Do we go and hire those companies again? And I started doing the math, and I was like, okay, this isn't worth it. Let's use AI to run some, batch jobs and translate everything into different languages. So we went and we found out we used the GPT API for this, GPT-4. And we said, okay, well, GPT-4 supports 25 different languages. So we now support 25 languages in our app, and every single string is automatically translated to one of these 25 languages, whenever we do a new build.
Excellent. So because of that, do you think you have users using apart from English? How many percentage of users who are non-English users?
Yeah, I would say right now it's probably less than 10%.
But still big.
Yeah.
It is a big thing.
Yeah, it's I mean, people are using it in different languages. We not only support different languages on our UI, right? But because the AI models underlying that we use, they themselves support different languages. People also do things like write their resume in French, write their resume in Spanish, depending on the country. We have people who will use our thing to, skill match themselves against jobs that are written in different languages. So sometimes it's funny because we'll get, a bug or an issue and it's like everything's written in German. I don't know what this says.
Now let's also see the product that he had made when he got his first funding from Techstars, which is a pre-seed round. So can you share what you had at that time?
Yeah, so
elevator pitch.
When we, initially built the product, we had an MVP. It's like a basic prototype or working product. The feature we had built was a LinkedIn profile optimizer. So this actually helps you improve your LinkedIn profile to get more views on your profile, to get recruiters actually reach out to you. So it's actually what you see on the screen. It's a very similar thing to this. So on the left is my LinkedIn. On the right 1/3 is the CareerFlow LinkedIn optimizer. right? So what this does is it gives you a score from 0 to 100. And for every section of the profile, it tells you green, like you've completed all the checklist points, nice to have, and must have.
Got it.
So that was it. And what we found is an interesting point is even at that time, by using the CareerFlow optimizer to optimize your profile, if you started from a score of 30 and you upgraded to a score of 70, we could double the amount of recruiters who are looking at your profile.
Wow.
So that was actually part of our early pitch is like, look, this is the initial discovery that we have is like by using software to help you in your career, you can lead to, outsized returns.
Excellent. Now, what was the next product for Series A after seed funding?
It was pre-seed only.
So for full product आप दिखाना.
Yeah. So
Pre-seed पे था ये भी. Full product pre-seed पे बन गया था.
Stars was the start of the pre-seed, right? They were in initial check, then everyone else.
Okay. So now full product, right?
Yeah, so this was the first thing that we built. Since then, we have now a whole suite of features and things in CareerFlow. We kind of categorize into three main categories. We first help with career docs. So we have an AI-powered resume builder, a LinkedIn profile optimizer, cover letter writer, and so on. We then help optimize the whole job search process. So whenever you look at a job on any of these top job websites, whether it's LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, Naukri, etc., CareerFlow will tell you how you match those jobs. You can then apply to those jobs, and if we support that site, we'll actually fill out the job form for you, and we'll keep track of all your job applications.
Oh, that is excellent. I think there is huge potential. I always wanted कि यार एक platform where I can track all the jobs I want to, and automatically just by clicking the button. And most importantly, I was surprised. He has solved the problem कि आप कोई भी use कर रहे हो, whether using Naukri.com in India or whether using LinkedIn in US, whether you're using Monster.com, whether you're using Indeed, every platform it is compatible, and they don't need to हर एक के साथ collaborate करने के लिए you had to get the API?
No, so we don't use APIs. We have a Chrome browser extension. So we're able to do everything from the user's browser itself.
Excellent. Now, Puneet, what made you leave your high-paid salary at Apple, 6-figure plus, and Bay Area के standards आपको पता ही है. Like, how did you motivate yourself to build beyond the visa barriers?
So, I mean, when you face a challenge or you see a challenge that has not been solved the way you expect it to be solved, and you see the same thing over and over again for many years, for me, that was a motivator, right? Okay, like, first I kind of was at Apple, I was like, okay, I guess someone's going to figure this out. And then, like, next year, no one figured it out. The year after that, still, I was like, okay, I guess people still have this same issue. So at some point, I was like, okay, well, I've learned enough about this space that I would like to actually tackle it and come up with a solution for this particular area. And the other aspects, obviously, which people think about is key, like, the salary aspect, as you mentioned, also the comfort. Right? And so those were things that I just had to kind of convince myself. And it took me a while. Like, it's not like I decided today and I'm going to leave tomorrow, right? It took me like a couple of months, I would say even 6 months plus of thinking about it, of like, do I want to do this? What's the impact on my finances, personal life, etc. But eventually, if you have that hunger inside you, that outweighs any of the benefits or motivation you have from a stable job.
And what about visa? And what about visa challenges?
So for myself personally, I was in a good situation from a visa beforehand. But I know, many people do face visa issues, and there are various ways. Once you kind of, it's like once you jump off the boat, you figure out various ways to deal with visa challenges as well. And there's a whole ecosystem built around startups that can help with this.
This founder mode trend, mein, what problems you solved? Were you in founder mode too?
What do you mean, what problems?
So founder mode, like after Paul Graham, he posted, right, that startups have to figure out the core problems, do probably skip meetings and, skip team meetings and figure out what actually is hiding and making startups slow down. So that's like, a conventional metric to measure. But as per, a lot of podcasts I listen to, they say that conventional methods don't work all the time. Airbnb, PayPal, Facebook, Meta, they stood out because they were unconventional and they were doing something completely different. They were like Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
So do you believe in those conventional methods as per the founder mode?
I don't know about conventional and founder mode specifically, but I think that every company has its like unique kind of journey, right? Because if I was doing what the person before me did, why would I succeed if they failed? Right? So you obviously have to like carve your own path, and many times that means like not going with the conventional wisdom. For example, in typical startup or any company, the conventional wisdom is you have a consumer product or a B2B product, right? So you either sell to a business or you sell to an individual. We sell to both. And many times we get asked like, why do you do that? That's like the conventional wisdom says you shouldn't do that. But we understand this space very well. And we know that the product is equally valuable to both. And it's like, in terms of focus area, it doesn't change much for us. In fact, having one helps the other and having the other helps one. And so it's kind of like, a domino effect where you have like things stacking up on both sides and building a mountain.
And that's how you stood out as well. There's another Chrome extension called like Simplified. It does similar stuff what you do, but not all the stuff that you're doing. And I think that's something I've heard in Silicon Valley. What is your challenge is my advantage. For example, like Perplexity, it always pitches that Google's challenge is my advantage. And same is the case for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, for us, really what we understood is that, having an end-to-end solution where you can have the whole job search managed in one place is what we are going for, right? And for a business, so like a university, that's equally valuable because they are looking for that same solution for their students so that they can better understand where their students are failing and where their students need help.
Okay, now let's say you were starting your journey in the Valley today.
Yeah.
What's the fastest way to become a millionaire? Is it using a startup with the vision you have, with the knowledge you have, or doing a tech job?
I mean, being completely honest, you'll probably get to $1 million faster if you do a tech job.
Oh, so you are chewing glass and growing slowly, right?
Well, it's like, personally as a founder, you would get the outcome after an exit opportunity, right? So I may make more money in the long term, but if I wanted to just make $1 million, like I would probably work at a big tech company. Hopefully that has a growing stock, right? And I might get lucky. For example, somebody that joined Nvidia 2-3 years ago has $1 million for sure, right? Unless they sold their stock early.
Awesome. Now, what future you see of AI right now? What future AI needs right now? For example, let me tell you what I have done research. I talk to AI engineers. They talk about that AI still are not able to solve the problems of creating your own cases. For example, let's say I am grading an English paper, right? So I want some MCQs to grade in certain way. मैं उसके answer की देना चाहता हूँ. I want to, let's say this is a 10-step approach I want to delegate to AI. I'm grading hundreds of papers. हर question का grading criteria different है. I want a model which understands the grading criteria and make that happen. That I still cannot do. I cannot teach an LLM right now to do that. I think that process driven is future as what I think right now. What do you think?
I think, I appreciate the example you've given, but largely speaking, I think LLMs, like hallucination is a feature, not a bug, right? And so if you have any situation where hallucination is a bug, you can't really rely on this technology, right? So I was talking about my case with the skill matching, right? The grading example is great. Like you don't want the LLM to grade something poorly because this person wrote a few words in there that, put the model weights to this completely different direction. So I think and people are working on this where it's essentially a combination of the LLM, like the language model, plus like workflows, plus rules and things like that to give structure, right? So and part of this we say it's agentic, and part of it, there's probably some stuff that we, like as people not working on the core models don't even understand yet, but there's people working on this kind of stuff.
So what future you see though? Agents ke alawa. Like you see agents is the future.
I mean, the future of how we will work with AI
is agents.
No, I think like you won't even realize you're working with AI, right? You'll just be like, and that's kind of like the ChatGPT moment today for a lot of people. It's just like, okay, there's a box here. I don't know what it does. I don't know how it does it. I just get an answer back, right? And so now today you're getting answers back. Tomorrow you will get work back, right? So I'll say, okay, I need to edit this video in a way that makes it super useful for 20-year-olds in India. right? And understanding what that means and going and doing that task for you is like what you should expect in the future. And today, obviously, there's bits and pieces of that, right? Like, you know, CareerFlow, like we do bits and pieces of this job search, but we don't have a solution where we say, hey, yeah, I'm Puneet and I need a job, and, you know, tomorrow I have like jobs lined up, right? But in the future, you should expect more and more of just work getting done for you, right? Yeah, think of it as a Roomba, right?
So you don't feel like, it should feel like कि मैं अपने दोस्त से advice ले रहा हूँ.
Advice भी नहीं ले रहे हो, आप काम करवा कर रहे हो.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's like अपने दोस्त से काम करवाना is when that point comes, that is the future.
I think so. And you know, there's probably more that I can't even reason about right now, and the future will tell.
यार इंडिया में ना आधे लोग पहले यूएस पर बहुत बड़ा ट्रेंड था कि कूल बनने के लिए टाइटल लिखने के लिए सीईओ ऑफ एक्स कंपनी ऑन लिंक्डइन, दैट्स व्हाई पीपल यूज्ड टू डू स्टार्टअप्स. वो इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा है. सो व्हाट एडवाइस यू वुड गिव देम इफ यू वर एन 18 to 22 year old, if you were 18 to 22 year old college student wanted to change the future, had a strong vision, what would you do?
Well, I was in that situation when I was in India as an 18-year-old. And I would say, if you, like you said, you know, want to change the future, have a strong vision, and you kind of think you know what you'll do, go do it, right? But I mean, to the other half of the question where you said there are people who just want to do it to have this tag, I would say, you know, like, you can try. There's no harm in trying. But there's also a lot of advantage as an early career person to actually work in different, you know, types of companies. So you could learn a lot from being in a very big company in terms of process, in terms of company culture, etc. In terms of just how, you know, an office environment works. You could also learn a lot from being in someone else's startup, right? So you could learn extremely fast in another startup. Now, to start your own startup, again, if you don't have that vision, you don't have that, you know, like, I want to change this world sort of feeling, again, like, you can try and you learn a lot in the process, but that may not necessarily be the most optimal route for your career success.
Excellent.
Right.
Now, what gives you happiness and what gives you anxiety, but you still have to do?
I mean, what gives me happiness is when someone tells me that they either got an offer or an internship or an interview, and CareerFlow helped them in that process. Right? That gives me the most happiness. When somebody comes and tells me, or I can see in the data, that people are actually getting value from what we built.
Yeah.
Right. So if you search on LinkedIn CareerFlow, you'll see posts almost every day where somebody says, "Hey, I got a good, you know, LinkedIn profile. Thank you, CareerFlow. This, that." That makes me happy. I mean, things that I don't like to do, but I still have to do, is a lot of like, you know, contract reviews, you know, administrative stuff.
वो तो मैं भी करता हूँ, but I just put into like LLM, जो private है locally, and that break down what I need to really read, and then I read a contract in 2 minutes then.
Yeah, but mostly it's a lot of, you know, back and forth on negotiation, pricing negotiation, dealing with issues, right? What I hate is like when somebody reaches out, a customer, and says, "Hey, like, we tried this thing, but it's like, it sucks or it's broken or whatever."
It's heartbreaking, right?
It is heartbreaking because like you've put a lot of love and energy into building that, and your team has as well. But the outcome wasn't what you wanted it to be.
Mood खराब हो जाता है when people like abuse at your product that you have given heart and soul to, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Puneet. It was wonderful learning from you, talking to you, showing us your incubator here. Thank you so much.